Hey, and welcome to a special update report edition of 7-Figure Business Secrets. Hey, afternoon. Yes, it's Friday evening again. Actually, for some reason I keep speaking to you on a Friday evening, but Friday evenings are cool anyway. So yeah, just driving back home for what is a long weekend here. We've Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. So lots of special things planned. Actually, the whole family, me, the kids, and my wife, are off to see the Avengers tonight. So special 3D edition. So can't wait for that. It'll be the usual into a burger joint beforehand, and yeah, just a really cool diner place. So burgers and chips and a proper movie with lots of stuff, and very healthy evening ahead. But can't wait for it. Yeah, just can't wait for it. Really cool. Anyway, special news report edition. So one of the things, it's an experiment that I've been working on for about 5 months now. I just wanted to update you on progress and basically back at the beginning of this year, I was just a bit concerned that I wasn't quite making progress on a few of the items that I wanted to, and it drifted off course, and it was all going around. We were trying to implement certain products and they weren't quite happening for a variety of reasons. And so what I did was I actually changed things around and changed around how I was actually managing myself, managing the business, and basically how we were tracking things through. And so 5 months in, it's actually working really well. We actually had our meeting yesterday, and during the meeting I thought, I must go and update you guys on what I actually did and how it's working, and basically how easy it is. So basically taking it back to December, and we'd basically quite a few things going on in the business. We were changing things around, moving it from leadership development with business consulting on the side, which is actually by far the major part of the business, to focusing on actually business consulting, but much more so focusing on helping people to actually set up a business for the first time, or to grow a small business into a large one so they can actually leave their job. Hey, if that's you, you're in the right place. So part of that was sort of realize actually taken us a little bit longer than it should have, quite a few months longer, to be honest, than I believe it should have, to actually get the 2017 results and objectives done. And we actually implemented a new process at the beginning of January, which was, it sounds really simple, right? But for whatever reason it wasn't. And what we actually did is we implemented weekly meetings. We implemented 3 things. The first was a weekly meeting, so it's sort of a cadence. So every single week we sit down and as a team, and we just go through a few items, but we do it every single week. And what that's done was it's actually given us a really good focus. So at the end of our Thursday meeting every week, we know exactly what's happening in the business. We know exactly what's going on, and we know exactly if we're on or off target, or if objectives have changed. We all know it. So it's really cool. And what I really want to talk to you about was what goes on those meetings and how powerful they've become. And the first thing that actually we started doing in the meetings was we just spend a few minutes, no more than 5 minutes, and we just quickly talk about what actually went well the previous 7 days. And the reason why we started doing that was we realized that actually we were doing loads of good stuff, and essentially what you do it on a Friday or a Monday or a Tuesday or Wednesday, and it'd be done and finished, and by Thursday we'd all be going, we haven't done this yet, and we would have forgotten the 5 things we did actually do. So we actually made time at the beginning of the meeting just to recognize everyone and what's done and what's worked, and just call it as it is, sort of. And what that does, it just puts the whole frame of the meeting in a really good place. And so we all hit the meeting very positive, because we've just spoken about what's actually going well. The next thing we do is, and this is the really key thing, back in January, we actually set ourselves metrics and basically numbers that we measure every single week. So it's our scorecard, right? And it's a set of 9 metrics that every single week we have to basically look at and see how we did the previous week. So things like size of the email list, did we actually have the meeting or not? Number of videos shot, those type of things. And we just track them through, and it's so simple. And it takes 2 minutes, and at the end of those 2 minutes, we're all totally up to speed on how we've done on our metrics and how business is progressing. And that has kept us razor focused, because what was happening last year was we'd sort of forget about a metric, and then about 3 or 4 weeks later, or months later even, you'd realize, oh, hang on a second, that hasn't progressed, and it was just because it went off the radar. And you know yourself, when you're busy and things are happening, you just forget about stuff, and you only really remember it when something goes wrong and you figure out, oh, what happened? We were doing that and we stopped doing it. So the metrics has been really, really good. And the third really cool part of the meeting is what we actually do is we go through the things we said we were going to do from the previous meeting. And so basically, if we come up to a decision or make a decision and someone's going to do something, right there and then we write it down, say, Keith is going to do boom, yeah. And if I don't do it at the following meeting, there it is on the to-do list, Keith's going to do such and such, and I have to say I either did it or I didn't. And personally, I like to be able to say, yeah, that's done, move on. So it puts a little bit of pressure on the team to follow through on commitments, and that's been really, really good for us as well. So they're the three things that we do religiously at the start of each meeting. And then the rest of the meeting is really, really cool, because essentially, if someone hasn't, if we haven't hit like a target or something like that, we spend the rest of the meetings going, okay, why did we hit that? And what do we do? And what do we not do? Or how can we do it differently? Or who's hitting the problems? And we just have some amazing deep discussions and figure out, what is it that we need to have done in time for the next meeting to have turned, say, a metric around, or and make it appear well in the scorecard. And yeah, it's working really, really well for us. And what I've noticed as well is that the clients that I see surging ahead, they have very, very similar focus as well. They've got a cadence. They have a structure of making things happen that they just follow through religiously on. And the beauty about our Thursday 9:30, it sounds so regimental, doesn't it? But having the 9:30 meeting on the Thursday morning, we all know it's, we have the go around the table, then we have the metrics, then we have the to-dos. But by doing that, we all know where we are, and it's just so powerful. And it reminds me of my days. Yeah, I should have known to do this, but it reminds me of days when we used to have teams working on both sides of the Atlantic, and we'd have the same sort of thing. I think it was a Wednesday meeting, where we'd have teleconference, and depending on where I was in the world, I'd be sitting on one side of the table or the other of the teleconference, and we just had the whole team there, and it was just great to make sure everyone's on the same page. The danger, as I fell into it, is when you get into your own smaller business, you think you don't need that. Well, that's the thing I'd like you to take out of today's call, is you absolutely do. You absolutely need to have a cadence. By just having that meeting, you're going to have to figure out, well, what are your objectives? What are your objectives for the next quarter? We always work on a quarter basis, so for the next 3 months. And that's where we have our detailed objectives. Then we have annual objectives, but they're a bit fuzzier, so they actually move as and when we go. And we do have a 3-year and a long-term goal plan, but they're like I was about to say pie in the sky, but they're more the vision that we want. But they're really cool to actually see them every now and again. And then every quarter we just sit down for about 2 or 3 hours and just make sure that they're still valid. But that's what I want you to do, is have a look and make sure you've got a cadence. Make sure you actually know what your objectives are, what you're working towards. Make sure you can measure them. Again, if you can't measure it, it probably ain't going to happen. And make sure that you've got, even if you work on your own, find someone you can take out for coffee to put this through and have your own mini meeting, because the benefits of it just keeps you on track, keeps the important things in focus, and keeps you moving towards your objective, because that is the hardest thing. There are so many things you could be doing. There are so many distractions. There are so many opportunities that you need to keep reminding yourself what it is that you're working on, and keep moving forward and keep measuring yourself moving forward. Right, okay, with that, I have an Avengers movie that I'm driving home to go and see. Apparently it's very good. No one spoiled it for me just yet, so I can't wait to see that. I do hope you have an amazingly brilliant weekend, so I fully intend to as well. Thanks a million for listening, and I should talk to you shortly.